Metrobank believe in the power of team sport. For girls, finding your team is game-changing, which is why we're championing the growth of women and girls cricket. That's why, to help inspire the next generation of female cricketers and drive further visibility of women's sport, Metrobank and the ECB have created a new photography bank of high-quality images of women's and girls cricket. The images will be accessible to local cricket clubs free of charge via the ECB Resource Hub, with professional standard imagery available to use across their websites and social channels to assist with the formation of new teams and recruitment of players. To find out more, check the link in the description, Champion of Women and Girls Cricket. Hello and welcome to the Wisden Women's Cricket Weekly podcast. The 100 has started. A new season of the franchise competition got underway at Lord's earlier this week, with more than 15,000 people in attendance for the opening match of the women's competition between London Spirits and Oval Invincibles. At the time of recording, by the end of today, all teams will have played their opening fixture of the competition, and there's already plenty to get our teeth into. I'm Katya, Witney. We've got a slightly different show this week. Yaz is enjoying some time off after an incredibly busy couple of months, so I caught up with Lauren Winfield-Hill to discuss the start of the 100, and after that you'll hear an interview I did ahead of the start of the competition with Issy Wong, who was back in England's T20I side this summer at a crucial point for the side with the T20 World Cup on home soil less than a year away. She's one of the most charismatic figures in the English game, and she spoke about the changes she's made to her bowling over the last 18 months. But first up, here's Lauren. The 100 is back. We're in the first week of the competition, and at the time of recording, by the end of the day, every team will have played their first fixture. Lauren, given the proximity of the competition to the international summer this year, we haven't really had time to properly talk about the competition, the squads, the teams, other than a little bit when the draft happened. Taking off your Oval Invincibles captain's hat for a minute, which teams look particularly strong this year in your opinion?
Oh, I think the Superchargers look strong. I think, to be honest, I think this year, because of all the availability of the front line players, I think the competition's going to be really tight this year. I think Superchargers look good. I think Phoenix have done a bit, like Emma Lamb's a great pickup for Phoenix. That's really strengthened them. But I think there's star-studded lineups throughout, isn't there? I think it's going to be the toughest, closely contested 100 that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, Welsh Fire always stick out, right, with that top order being so strong and powerful. What kind of tactics in the 100 or the few matches this year have surprised you so far, or is there still stuff we're learning about the competition and the format?
I think the biggest surprise has been like teams setting and winning, whereas it sort of felt like everybody was going to chase. And that was sort of the election at the toss on a lot of occasions at a lot of grounds. I know there's one in play now. I know that the Superchargers yesterday obviously won and elected to bat. On pitches, really, like I often think Headingley in particular is sometimes very much a chasing ground because it's so fast scoring. But I think people this year have gone for more runs on the board and basically try and get hit for ones. Maybe less aggressive. I wouldn't. You're still trying to take wickets, but it almost feels like teams are trying to get ahead of the game with runs on the board, and then just happy to damage limitation really with the ball and get hit to your boundary riders. And I think what you do find with the 100 is it climbs pretty quick. In that chase, you have a couple of sets that don't go for many. It can climb pretty quickly. That's probably been the biggest thing. And then obviously the pitches are good this year. Like we've had a lot of sunshine. Pitches are probably a bit flatter than they were last year. So that would be, I mean, we've not got a lot to judge yet, but I think that would be the biggest sort of learnings from the first few games.
How important do you think that pitch factor, that the pitches are so good this year, is important in making the women's 100 in particular a spectacle for audiences coming in that don't particularly follow a lot of cricket elsewhere?
Yeah, I think it's massively important. I think you want runs scored, you want it to be high scoring and entertaining. I think the outfields are particularly quick because they're very dry, which makes for good good viewing, good for, it's good for players as well. But yeah, I do think that's definitely a difference this year.
And talking about a lot of runs scored in the tournament opener, which you were part of with London Spirit here at Lords. London Spirit scored 176 for five, thanks mostly to a brilliant innings from Grace Harris and Cordelia Griffith as well. Before Meg Lanning scored 85 off 51 in the chase, ultimately falling short by 17 runs. I wanted to spend a bit of time talking about how good Grace Harris has been this summer, because I think we've kind of brushed over it a little bit on the pod, but she's come over to Surrey as their big name overseas player, and now she's at London Spirit. She scored 338 runs in the T20 Blast, striking it just under 160, and started off the 100 this week with what turned out to be a match-winning 89 not out of 40 balls. The power she's able to get on the ball is unlike pretty much anyone else in the women's game at the minute.
Yeah, I think she's really benefited from the extra time over here. Like, she's got better the longer she's spent over here. In terms of just getting used to pitches, I think the role that she's playing over here really suits her. We know that it can swing and seam early, but I think actually her playing that role that she plays for Australia suits her really well over here, which I think was a really good move from Surrey. And then she's obviously just continued that with the London Spirit. And that was probably the observation the other day, was like, actually, we probably missed 4 times against her line and length, and they all went for 6. Like, that's, I think, and that's the biggest difference between her. Is there was times where she hit over your fielders, which is, you actually have executed what you're trying to execute there. For most other people, it's caught on the rope. So you actually haven't missed your area by that much. The difference, when you do that to Grace Harris, like, you do that 3 times, I think, where we offered her width to be able to free her arms, they go for 6. So that's probably the biggest difference. And just like the cleanness of her striking, like some of them are, it's not like they're just creeping over the boundary. Like, she's just so powerful. She's got so much strength. Just so much more than most other people in the women's game, consistently still.
And we spoke about, I was watching her innings and watching how she was playing against Amanda Jade Wellington in particular. And we spoke in the India series about spinners taking pace off the ball, or any pace off the ball, and bowling slower. And Amanda Jade Wellington is someone who does bowl slower, but Grace Harris is still able to clear the boundary against Amanda Jade Wellington over the boundary. How does she get that distance hitting down the ground on the ball?
She's strong and powerful. Like, she's got a pretty good solid technique. She practices power hitting a lot. Her and her sister both, like, playing over there with them over in Australia, like, they get on the bowling machine and practice 6 hitting competitions. But they are freakishly strong players. Not only, if you saw them in a gym, they are so much stronger than any other people on the team, and powerful. But there's still a lot of technique in that. She's got a pretty simple, uncompromising technique. Using the Wello example, it was like, for most, I mean, there was an opportunity. We obviously had an opportunity within that. I think she was on less than 40 at the time, which could have made the game very different. But, I think the pace that Wello bowled, to most people, they're caught on the ring. For Grace Harris, you're fetching it and returning it.
Yeah, and I was also looking at, there was one shot she played against Rihanna McDonald-Gay as well. She had so much time to help the ball on the way, that fine deep backward point. That's an incredible shot.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's just like the evolution of her game, isn't it? Where she's got the little ramps and the stuff behind square, but she's also got the ability to bomb it out the ground straight, which, like I say, not many people have. Like, I still don't think, I don't think there's anyone else in the women's game that does it like her and her sister. I think the amount of sixes that they hit versus the amount of sixes the rest of the world hits. There's probably only a couple of others in there where, like Lazeli, when she gets going, Shafali, but there's not that many in abundance.
And you're running coaching courses at the minute with the WH Coaching Academy for players and coaches, where people can get one-to-one courses at a range of ability levels. How do you go about adding that kind of power into your game?
I think a lot of it's technique. I think there's a lot of it can be done replicating, throwing heavy stuff in the gym as well. It's a bit like with the power hitting stuff. It's a bit like golf. Like golfers come in all different shapes and sizes, but it's about like transfer of the power that you have in your body through the technique that you have and develop. And also, I think a lot of it is mindset and the frequency of trying to literally take the handbrake off and hit it out the ground. And I think a lot of us actually play within ourselves quite often, where you're swinging at 70%, but actually, what does sort of swinging at 110% look like? And then if you dial it back to 90, 95, you're probably somewhere near. So I think it's finding that sweet spot and tempo of what the best swing is for you. Is it fast hands, or is it actually slowing your hands down and using your back leg? And I think it's about grooving your best swing, and it's slightly different for everyone, but there's obviously some core principles within that.
And on the gym stuff, I was thinking, how much has what you do in the gym changed over the last like 5, 10 years or so?
Yeah, a lot. It's changed a lot. I think we do a lot more like power and explosive stuff, throwing med balls around, doing lots of jumps. So a lot more like reactive, explosive stuff. Probably a lot less like higher repetitions, more like short, sharp, but high velocity work. Um, and in the same and around your running and stuff, your speed, your jumps, your plyometrics, they are all massively important now, especially with T20 cricket.
And the other player who had a brilliant game at Lords in the tournament opener was Cordelia Griffith. People all remember her last year from when the winning runs were hit in the 100, and her brilliant face when she was in the just full of complete joy. She's had a couple of really strong performances this year, and that was the latest in the line of them.
Yeah, she has. I think she sort of comes alive in the 100. She's got a real definitive, clear role to come in the power play and take the game on. And she played beautifully. I think, to be honest, she came pretty hard the other day, and we probably didn't bowl that well to her. Initially, we got a plan together and executed it, but probably a little too late. And she came pretty hard and was really effective. And I think, it just goes to show if you've got a definitive role and almost like a bit of a free pass, um, especially in this format of the game, if you can get 25 off 10 balls, we've just seen Marie Kelly do that in this game that's underway now. That actually has a massive impact in 100 ball cricket.
The other good news story that was from the comp so far is Tash Farrant took her first wicket in the 100 in 1,450 days. She hasn't played in the 100 since 2021. She's someone I think everyone will be automatically pleased for to be back playing cricket and taking wickets.
Oh, 100%. And it's still a real tough scenario for Tash. Like, I think a lot of, the behind the scenes stuff that she's still having to do to get, to be able to enable her to play and to be back on the park is massive, like in terms of adapting to life with different preparation. She can't bowl a lot in between games. And physically, her training's changed quite a lot. But yeah, I think, like, I don't think there's anybody that is in women's cricket in this country that's not just thrilled to see her back. And she's still battling with trying to get her body right, but her big goal was to be playing in the 100 this year, and it's great to see her doing that. And and hopefully this is just like the start of her being able to kick on the next couple of years as well, is to keep her body right over winter. And sort of, I guess for her, she wants to return to a place where she can do everything. She can prepare as she would, bowl before the match day -1 training, etc. Where at the minute she's unable to do that, but which is hard mentally. I think it's worth noting, like, it is really difficult. But she's doing a fantastic job, and like she's just such an important member of of our group. Like, she's just such a loved and respected teammate that I think everyone's just buzzing that she's back out there.
And we've talked a lot about the importance of getting matches under your belt and playing and having match time this summer. But I think the other side of that is sometimes it's really hard to manage your body through those performances and alongside training.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a game ready in my room as we speak, icing different body parts. But yeah, it's it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? It's I don't think anybody really plays these days without some sort of niggle or something they're managing. But it's just great to see her back and doing what what she loves and what she's worked so hard for.
Coming up next on the podcast, we've got an interview with Issy Wong, who's had a bit of a re-emergence this summer after that initial period in 2022 where she was one of the most exciting and marketable faces of women's cricket in England. And she was vocal at that point about wanting to be the fastest bowler in the world and hit that magical 88 clicks marker. It feels like she's almost reinvented herself a little bit after the quite public struggle she had with her run-up a couple of years ago. And we saw her take the pace quite a lot against India. And she was fantastic for Bears in Blast Finals Day about a week and a half ago now. What do you make of this new version of Issy Wong that we've seen over the last couple of months?
I love it. It's always been in there. I think she's such an exciting character and such an exciting cricketer. She's a great package. I think her batting's actually really underrated as well. We saw that come alive, didn't we, at finals day? She played a couple of really great knocks, to be honest. Like the semi-final was obviously the one that was a bigger contribution, but she played really well in both. I just think I know she opened the bowling for Bears in that finals day, but I think England are using her slightly differently in terms of more back end of the power play and through the middle, using those change ups, pour out. She's got a lovely back of the hand slower ball. So I think her role has slightly changed internationally, but I just think she looks like she's got good rhythm. She's backing her skills, her change ups. She's contributed. She's in key fielding spots. She feels part of what the teams that she's playing for are doing. Whereas I think she just looked lost. She looked like she didn't have a role, with bat or ball and trying different things and searching for rhythm in international cricket. And I think, just taking her out of the firing line for a bit and allowing her the space and the wiggle room to figure it out and come back has been great.
One thing I think you notice about Issy Wong when she's on song is that she really skips through her run-up. So energetic in her run-up, and that was something pretty noticeable at Blast Finals Day.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think I said that actually on air, where I said, when she's in a good place because the bounce gets higher. She's quite toey, isn't she? And there's that real bounce to everything that she does. She's a very, energetic and enthusiastic character. But genuinely, there's a spring in her step. And you can see it from afar, which is awesome.
Well, cheers for your time today, Lauren, and best of luck tomorrow. Here is that interview with Issy Wong. Issy, we're here at Lord's for London Spirit Media Day. It's the first year of a new franchise for you, having come down from Birmingham Phoenix. Must be a bit of a change.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a change. I'm used to kind of, I guess, being at Edgbaston, but yeah, I'm really excited for it. I've been looking forward to it since obviously finding out the draft. So excited to get to work. I think I've been thinking about it a lot and looking forward to it. But very excited to get to work. Obviously, it's a serious place to be playing your cricket, and I'm super excited about that.
And special memories at Lord's for you as well. That must make it doubly exciting.
I was sat just down there for the World Cup final, so yeah, watching that was really cool. I think there's quite a lot of us sort of my age that remember that really vividly, and obviously kind of felt like a real turning point for the women's game especially. And I think the 100's been fantastic at drawing people in to watch domestic women's cricket at the best grounds in the country. So it's really exciting, I guess, to be here and hopefully to see that progression just keep growing and growing.
And new teammates as well. Bit of a change last minute ahead of the night, obviously injured Charlie Dean coming in as captain. It must be nice to be in a fresh environment as well.
Definitely, yeah. I'm really excited to get underway. Obviously, we're disappointed to lose Heather, but it's going to be fantastic to, I guess, have her around and really be able to tap into her knowledge and her experience. I think Dino is going to bring Probably something a little bit different to Heather, but you know, me and Dino, we go way back from, you know, KSL, England Academy stuff together. So yeah, I'm really excited to get on the park there with her and to kind of, I guess, see her in a leadership role. Yeah, I guess that's really exciting.
And you've had a busy week leading up to this. About a week ago now, just a bit less, you were at T20 Blast finals day, first one at the Oval. That was amazing. You had a really incredible couple of games there. Talk me through the experience of that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was good fun. I think we've worked really hard, I guess, as a Bears team to be really clear on, I guess, how we wanted to play our cricket and what would get us in a really good position to make it to finals day. And I think throughout at the start of the competition, it was, you know, all about how can we get there, because, you know, you've got to be in there to be in with a shout. And then once you get there, it's about, I guess, sticking to what we've done all season and just really enjoying it. I think, you know, those sorts of days don't come around too often, and especially with it being the inaugural finals day at the Oval, it was a fantastic occasion, and it was great to be a part of. Obviously, Surrey were a fantastic side and probably deserved winners, but I think as a Bears team, we're also proud of how we played to get there and how we played in that eliminator to get us into the final. So I think, yeah, we'll have learned a lot from that sort of experience, sort of kind of high profile, big pressure game that, you know, a lot of us hadn't played in too many of them. So it was fantastic. We loved it. Hopefully we can be back there next year.
Talk me through batting at number 3, because you scored a half century in that game, scored a lot of boundaries. What's the kind of role for you? I mean, a bit of a power hitter in that position, but what were the conversations leading up to you making that move up the order?
Yeah, I'd done it throughout the season actually for the T20s, so I did it in all the games.
Yeah.
If we lost a wicket, I think in theory it was if we lost a wicket in the power play, but you know that the last over of the power play would start and I'd get sat down. They'd say, "Take your helmet off, you're right now." So yeah, it was a fun role. It's something that I previously opened the bat in T20s for the Sparks, so I felt quite comfortable, I guess, going in power play, and it's a bit of a different role to coming in probably towards the back end of an innings and trying to finish it off, I guess, but. I think it's really exciting. You know, the field's up, the ball's still really hard, and yeah, so I loved it. You know, I loved the opportunity, I guess, to get out there and to have a bit more time, and but just trying to be really aggressive and almost kind of counter attack. I guess when I've gone in, it's been because we've lost an early wicket, so trying to put a little bit of pressure back on them and. I guess just play strong shots, and I think it's fantastic. I love it. So.
Do you see that as a role for yourself in different formats going forward? You're still the same batting position in the One Day Cup as well, and do you think you want to focus on your batting a bit more to be more of an all-round role, or?
Yeah, I've always focused on my batting. It's always probably something I've worked hard on, and do I see myself moving to number 3 in all formats? No. You know, I'm not deluded, but I love it, and it's something that I keep working on and. Working closely with Ali since he's come in, and working on a few bits of my game just to try and get better, and whatever kind of role that is. I think cricket's so fickle's the wrong word, but it's so dependent on the environment you're in, and you know, in that Bears T20 environment, I was really lucky that was the kind of role I was given, and then, you know, being with England, the role looks very different, and I think it's about, you know, batting's batting, isn't it? And I think just trying to give myself the best skills and the more experience I can gain in all these different roles, hopefully going down the line, you know, whatever situation I kind of get thrown into, then I've got kind of some experiences that I can relate to, and hopefully the skill sets to try and make an impact for my side. I think it's you know, it's impossible, I guess, as a predominantly a bowler, it's impossible to say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but obviously I'd love to get as much opportunity as I can with the bat, and hopefully through, you know, working hard in training and stuff and previous experiences, be in a good position to make an impact.
You must have been pretty pleased with some of the balls you produced, and particularly that eliminator as well. I'm thinking the ball that you got Tammy Beaumont with, that must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. I felt in good rhythm all day, to be fair. And I think the wicket was really nice. I thought it was a really good cricket wicket. It was there was just enough in it for the bowlers, but I think when it's got pace and a little bit of bounce as well, that probably creates opportunities for the bowlers as well. But you know, to bat on, it was also nice. I think it was pretty true. I guess really happy to get the innings off to a good start. I think how important those first couple of overs are, and certainly the power play in T20 cricket, and the short format, if you can really get on top of a team in the power play, that puts you in a really good position. So, I think we had a good score on the board, but to just make those early breakthroughs was something that, we've spoken about as a bowling group, something probably maybe haven't done as well throughout that Blast campaign. And, we'd had loads of conversations throughout the campaign, and even in the 50 over stuff about how can we take more wickets in the power play, because we know how important that is. So, it was nice for it to come off in a big game.
And just reflecting on your involvement with England over the summer as well, did you expect to play as big a role in the T20 stuff as you have this summer at the start? I
guess I hope to. You always hope to, though, don't you? I think I felt like I was in a really good place coming off the A Tour in Australia. I felt really clear on my skills and what I could do at different places, different periods of the game. And me and Chris Liddell, who's obviously head coach here, we'd worked, together for probably 18 months, and really we felt comfortable in that space, and that we'd made some really good strides, and I felt like I was bowling quite nicely going into the start of the English summer. And the role I had at Bears was really exciting, and I got lots of overs under the belt and in different situations as well, which was really good. So I was obviously delighted to be involved again after probably a couple of years kind of to one side. So it was really cool to be back. And it's nice to, I guess, just have that perspective, I guess, of having been in and then having not been in, to come back in. It really made me grateful for the experience, and excited, I guess, to try and contribute when I got the opportunity. And that's all you can do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just try and prepare yourself as best you can, and then when you get your opportunity, try and do what you can in that situation.
You mentioned Chris Liddell. Was that part of the England Pace development programme, right?
Yeah.
How was your work with that over the winter?
So I was at Loughborough 2 days a week with the Pace programme. There were 6 of us on it. We spent, obviously, I think Rihanna McDonagh was on it as well, and she spent a bit more time away with the first team and stuff. But there was a really nice core of us that were training together in Loughborough and working together, working against each other. So we were at Loughborough twice a week, and it was just fantastic contact time. I think we had the tent up until about January, so staying outside and being able to keep working outside and on grass was really helpful. And just that, I guess, having that big block of training, I didn't go away until the A Tour right at the end, which probably came at a perfect time. So I had a kind of big training block, and then could go outside and put that into some games before the summer. So I felt like I was in a really good place off the back of that.
And noticing with your bowling for England over the course of the summer, a lot of it was pace off, and a lot more of it compared to when we've seen you play previously was more pace off. Where are you at in terms of bowling fast now and wanting to be that best, fastest bowler in the world, and adding that to your skill set?
Yeah, I think I probably want to be as effective as possible, and I feel like I've got loads of options. I can still, like the other day at the Oval, the pitch felt like, I could try and run in and bowl quick on that, and that was going to be the most effective, certainly at the start of that innings. And towards the middle, I think my third over, I don't think I bowled I think they were all pace on, trying to actually go short, and that was the most effective. Whereas, on some of the pitches we've played at, I've, thought actually pace off is kind of what's required here. So that's something that me and Lids have worked really closely out of. Firstly, kind of, I guess, developing those skills, but also now that we've got them, it's how can we best utilise them? Because, it's all good having lots of tricks, but if you use the wrong ones at the wrong time, you're not going to be that effective. So I guess reading the situation and a bit of experience, and I feel really, I guess, comfortable that I can kind of do both, and it's kind of what's required of me at the time, with obviously playing with Lauren Filer for England this summer, that role that she does so well. So it was, I guess, as for me as kind of a bowler alongside, it was actually, okay, well, how can I complement that really well? And certainly I think changes of pace at the death were so important to, some of these girls who hit a really clean ball. I didn't want to try and be too predictable. So I'm trying to mix that up as much as I can.
Just listening to you talk, it feels like you're at a kind of almost mature place or more experienced place with your bowling now. Do you feel like that, having had a couple of years where you're working on maybe ironing out kinks in your run-up and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've got a lot of experiences now, but like, don't get me wrong, there's still kind of that desire to run in and bowl quick. And, my initial comments about women bowling 80 miles an hour. And, I said, I think 5 years ago now, that I absolutely thought it was possible. And if it's possible, why won't you try? I'm still very much in that headspace of just trying to get, I guess, trying to be as fit as I can, as strong as I can, and in as good positions as I can at the crease to bowl quick. But I feel like I've got loads of options as well, which is probably something that I've had to develop over a few years. And it feels really good that I've got lots of options when I'm out there, because people apply pressure to you. That's what happens in especially the shortest formats of the game. They come at you hard, and to have lots of different roads, I guess, that I can walk down is really nice, as opposed to having one or two roads that I've got to stick to.
And looking slightly more ahead, there's a T20 World Cup in England next summer. Having just had a successful summer in the T20 format with England, that must be quite a good, I guess carrot's the wrong word, but something to aim for, I guess. We mentioned earlier on that you were here in the crowd in 2017 when England won the 50 over World Cup. The final of the 2026 T20 World Cup is here at Lord's. That would be an incredible kind of full circle moment, I guess.
Absolutely. I think you look at, I think when you're a kid and you're watching your heroes go out and win a World Cup on home soil, that's what you leave those days, and you think, wow, like I'd love to do that one day. I'd love to play in a home World Cup would be incredible. Obviously, I've not been to a World Cup at all yet, so I think that's something that's definitely, like you say, something on the calendar that is an exciting, if it, not even personally, but for us as a country, and as a where the women's game is at the moment in England, it's a really exciting competition, I think, and I think it's hopefully gonna just keep accelerating the growth of the women's game in this country, and having the best players in the world coming and competing for a World Cup in English soil is going to be it's fantastic. It's going to be fantastic for the game, but obviously, personally, it's I'd love to be involved in it, but I know that it doesn't work like that. So I think it's just about taking one step at a time and looking at the next game and how to best prepare for that, and training like over the winter, trying to get as good as I can be for me and for whatever team I'm playing for.
And just to finish up with kind of reflections on England's T20 summer, I think a lot of the focus was on the 50 over stuff with the World Cup so close, but there is that T20 World Cup that's only a few months after it. Where do you think the side is at the minute in terms of nailing down that, first of all, that side and the approach you want to play T20 cricket with under a new head coach and under a new regime?
Yeah, like you say, there wasn't too much cricket this summer to I guess work out where we're at. Obviously for me as well, I've not been in that environment, so for me it's hard to say where we're at in terms of previously, because I've not been around the group for 18 months, and things change very quickly in that sort of space of time. So the last England squad I was in Ireland, and I think that there wasn't a single player apart from maybe Paige Schofield that was in there. I've played not very many games for England under 5 England captains, so I think I'm the only person who's got all 5, so which is a nice
achievement.
Yeah, I've got Heather, Nat, Amy Jones against India, Kate Cross, and obviously Tammy at this series. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
Is that unsettling to keep going into England environments under different kind of circumstances? Not all of it. Obviously, we had Amy Jones a couple of years ago because Heather was injured, and then Tammy this summer because Nat was injured.
Not at all. I think the fantastic thing, I think even when Tammy took the captaincy this summer, was the group still felt like nothing really changed, and we were still working I guess in the same way as previously, and it's representing your country at the end of the day, isn't it? And I think the approach is always going to be, giving everything, and certainly from my point of view, I've always thought of when I'm playing for England, that's as good as it gets, and just trying to leave everything out there, I guess, and play really smart as well. I think that's one of the things that we worked really hard on this year is getting over the line in tight games, and
That's everything for today. We'll be back next week with the next round of the 100 action, as well as picking our all-time best women's ODI 11. Thanks to Metrobank, girls' cricket clubs can now access royalty-free images to promote women's and girls' cricket within their community. If you want to find out more about the fund, visit metrobankonline.co.uk/cricket.